Day 3, Eagles training camp. It is Sunday. The Eagles have no practice on Monday, just to let everybody know. But a lot of good things to take from this third day of Eagles training camp. You have an offense that played pretty well. Got to give the offense time. Usually defenses at the start of camp start to play really well because the offense is not in sync yet. And then once they start to, then we get the battles. Then, we start to get full pads on, and then we get this competition really rolling. So there's some good things to take from both sides of the football. We have some player press conferences or interviews that happened with a few players that are very interesting, and I kind of want to go through those. A couple of things that Nick said in some of the players, so I want to go through all that. We have a reveal, an in-person reveal of the new Kelly Green helmets, which I'm excited to show you guys that as well. That was on Twitter today from John Clark, so definitely a bunch of stuff to go over. So let's go over the third day of Eagles training camp.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Well, I hope everyone's enjoying the end of their weekend on Sunday, and definitely a lot to look forward to between today. We had Eagles training camp, then tomorrow we got the Kelly Greens. We have a big weekend and coming off the weekend coming up. So if you're in Philadelphia and you're able to get jerseys tomorrow, I feel I feel really sorry for myself because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one, but we'll see. Now, I want to go over Eagles training camp day 3, which was a very interesting one. It was a big offensive day, okay? Now, to start with everything, what we start with? The injuries, as usual, and it looks like it is the same injuries. And this is not the same graphic I had up the other on Friday and Wednesday. This is actually the new graphic, and usually Jeff McClain usually has the injury update pretty easily, pretty early. And it's the same. Barnett, knee limited. Maddox, toe limited. Reddick should be back in hopefully a few days. That's what I'm hearing with the groin soreness. There is no rush to. There's no hurry to rush him back this fast. So that makes a lot of sense. Nothing added to this list, so that's a really good thing. Now, obviously, going through Jalen Hurts, Marcus Mariota. Mariota didn't really have a great day today. Got picked off by Bradberry. That probably should have been a pick 6. Made a couple short passes, but nothing crazy with Mariota today. So Mariota so far has had a bad day, a good day, and not a great day on his third day of Eagles training camp. But Jalen Hurts was 16 for 19 today. I think he had a touchdown. I'm not sure. Some people said he didn't have a touchdown. Some say he did. I don't know. So I'm just going to leave that out and just say he was 16 for 19. The touchdowns really don't matter. This is for entertainment anyway. So Jalen Hurts, 4 straight completions. Those completions were to A.J. Brown, 10 to 15 yards, and close coverage. Devontae Smith had a right sideline catch, a deep ball on the right sideline, which he was actually had illegal contact by Sidney Brown, and he still ended up catching it, which was great. So he had a really good day, broken coverage. And Quez Watkins was targeted 5 times, and he caught 4 balls, and 2 of them were long ones. Pause. 2 deep passes for Quez. Timing was perfect between them two. From what I'm hearing from the beat writers, the timing between Jalen Hurts and Quez Watkins was awesome. And it was tight coverage. And literally, Jalen Hurts threw a deep ball to Quez Watkins, went right over by a fingernail over the defender, and Quez caught it perfectly. This is what I want from Quez Watkins. Okay, I don't know if there's realistically a competition at wide receiver 3. I have no idea because I haven't heard much from Zacchaeus. I understand it's very early right now, but I feel like the Eagles have a lot of faith in Quez. I feel like Nick has a lot of faith, and we keep these receivers at a high standard because even though Quez didn't drop 18 balls last year, every mistake definitely counts. As a wide receiver 3, I think it's one of the worst positions to play because you're not a focal point. This focal point in your offense is between A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert in the passing game. As a number 3 wide receiver, you have to be ready when your number is called. Whether, Jalen Hurts is going through his progressions and, he's got to look for that, other receiver or if his running backs, he doesn't want to check down to his running backs or something like that. Quez has got to be ready. And there were times last year where Quez was not ready for the ball when he should have been. So the timing was off, and maybe his just sense of, what was going on was not in the right place. Obviously, the fumble in the Washington game. I guess having that grade 2 shoulder sprain didn't really help him too much later on in the season, and then giving him one of the, to give him an opportunity to catch one of the biggest catches in the Super Bowl and went right through his hands. So Quez Watkins got to be on point this year. I know a lot of fans don't really like him that much. I know that everyone's calling him Quez Dropkins as of right now, but I support him, and you know what? He says he was going to prove us wrong. When we signed Olamide Zaccheaus, that was the point where he went on Twitter and he really ripped the fans like, okay, you guys don't believe me now because we just signed another receiver? Okay, I'm going to make y'all eat your words. And that's what he said on Twitter. And I like that because it shows fight. And today was a monstrous day from Quez Watkins. I really want that wide receiver 3 position to produce so much more. So 5 targets, 4 catches, just fantastic from Quez Watkins, and I cannot complain, man. Cannot complain because it was one of our weakest positions last year. I felt like Quez did good early in the year, and then, he kind of stumbled off a little bit. But, I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's very underrated. I just feel like there are times I think, some fans think he's a better outside receiver than an inside receiver. And I could probably believe that maybe he's not really a pure slot, but I still think they're going to use Quez, and I still think they're going to use Olamide Zaccheaus as well on like the short, the screen passes or the slants or something, the short throws. I feel like they'll use Zaccheaus because he's a burner as well. So they got 2 burners at wide receiver 3 right now that are going to be on this roster by the end of this offseason. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now, DeAndre Swift, yet again, this is why I love Brian Johnson so much. DeAndre Swift is being used on, 7-on-7s, in the passing game. They love using DeAndre Swift in the passing game, and thank God they're doing this. They've been doing this really since the first day of training camp. Putting him in the passing game, he was, I guess Hurts through to DeAndre Swift on a wheel route. And, he's just so good in open space, such good vision. And, if you can get DeAndre Swift to the second level with this offensive line, just imagine the damage he's going to do. When you talk about who's my most exciting player to watch going into this season, it's going to be DeAndre Swift without a long shot. As much as I love Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith and the rest of these guys, I think as for the running backs, I think DeAndre Swift is like my favorite player in this offense going into the season. Chip on the shoulder, ex-Georgia Bulldog, from Philly. Like I said, big chip on his shoulder. He was, he's got a lot of, and he's, he was interviewed today on a couple things on the running back market. What do you think of the running back market? This one, and Jonathan Taylor, he's walking, he wants $16 million a year. All the running backs are having some stupid little tea gathering on, we need to tell the league, we need, this position needs to have more value and we need to get paid more. And it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You want your money, but no team is paying a running back $16 million a year. It's just not going to happen. So Swift actually said, I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything. I'm on my deal right now with the Eagles. All I'm here to do is help them win. That's it. And that's such a good, respectful answer that we could have got from him. And that was awesome to hear. So was really excited to hear that from him. And he doesn't care, man. Doesn't care. He's on the last year of his rookie deal right now. And I think there's a good chance they might re-sign DeAndre Swift. There is a good chance that could happen. So I'm excited for that. 24 years old, guys. Jeez. Next, running back wise, Trey Sermon, man. And Trey Sermon is having a pretty good camp. He had 1 fumble in training camp so far, but other than that, he's running hard, very elusive. They put him into the passing game just a little bit, not as much as Swift, but they've been putting him to the passing game a little bit. But I think Sermon's going to be good, man. I think someone's going to pry him off our roster because I don't see the Eagles carrying 5 running backs. It's not going to happen. It's already enough. They're going to keep 4. Boston Scott's going to be a full-time, kick returner most likely until maybe someone gets hurt, and then, he'll maybe come in, or maybe they'll need him for certain games. I don't know. But with, Gainwell and Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift, Boston Scott, it's just, I don't think there's any room for Sermon, man. And I want to see guys push for spots. And I think Sermon's one of those guys that could really push, especially getting to these not training camp, the preseason games. We get into some other things as well. So I'm rooting. This is another guy I'm rooting for. At least not even rooting for being, if he's not going to be here, then, go to another team. It's just a shame though, because I feel like if they put him on the practice squad, I think someone's going to snag him real quick. I think that's what's going to happen, unless they put him on some list or a fake injury list where they, want to keep him for a certain amount of time, or a fake injury list or something that obviously, they did that with Jordan Mailata a few times. You guys remember, when he got hurt, the fake injury report list, or, so no one would pry him off the roster in the beginning when he was drafted. So Trey Sermon doing great things. Now, Rashad Penny had his press conference today, and there are interesting things here because we kind of want to know what's going on. We don't know how they're going to use him, because I have no idea. Could run between the tackles really well. Is so good in open space. Welcomes contact, gives contact. Guy has done a number on us. So Rashad Penny had a lot to say. So he says he feels great physically, says that his legs are fresh. His body feels really good. His body has never felt as good as it is now. Like he said, his body feels light. With Seattle, he said he weighed about 235 pounds to 237. He wants to get down to 225, but that's his goal right now, to get to 225. So he feels like, Rashad Penny is just massively jacked. I mean, pause, but you know what I mean. He's a tank. I mean, you see him at the press conference, his arms and his biceps. He couldn't even put his arms on the table normally. That's how big that guy is. So he wants to. So he says the health people at the facility are really keeping him in good shape, and his workouts and his coaches, his assistant workout coaches, are doing a really good job with him, keeping him light, and they're not pushing him as hard. So for him to have, if you're able to keep DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, especially Rashad Penny, fully healthy the whole entire year, this could be one of the most dangerous backfields that we've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles in years. I'm not even kidding. This is going to make 2017 running back core look like a bunch of peewee football players. Like, I'm not even kidding about that. It's going to be a run for its money if they can keep these guys healthy, but toning up, losing weight a little bit, not losing weight in a bad way, but, having to lose weight because, maybe he needs to be at a certain weight to where his body feels great and much lighter. And, the Eagles know what they're doing. They know about his injury history. He only played 5 games last year, so I'm excited. I don't know how they're going to use Rashad Penny. I mean, I haven't heard much from training camp, like, on the things that they're doing with him. Like, he's worked with the ones. Every running back has worked with the first offense. So, I mean, he's going to make the roster regardless. But when it comes down to, like, maybe he's in the passing game a little bit, I don't know. Are they going to use him? I don't know how they're using him right now. But to keep him healthy is the most important thing on the list. So that was the news on Rashad Penny, which I really did like. Now, a couple things here. Okay, now it looks like Sua Opeta definitely. Sua Opeta went in. So offensive line wise, okay, Sua Opeta went in for Landon Dickerson at left guard. Dickerson came out, and he was fine. I don't know, maybe he just needed a breather or something like that. So it looked like he was fine, and then Jurgens went back, and then Landon Dickerson went back in. Now Sirianni did talk about the competition at right guard again. Okay, and obviously the coach is going to be like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be starting, So he did say that Cam Jurgens did start the third day. So really it's been a lot of Cam Jurgens. You can see how Jeff Stoutland is hovering around Cam Jurgens every chance he gets to coach him up like crazy during these practices. He said that there is nothing set in stone with the right guard position right now between Tyler Steen and Cam Jurgens. As much as, I think, like I said in multiple videos already with Tyler Steen in this competition at right guard, is that Tyler Steen is not caught up with everything yet, physically and mentally with camp. And, he just started this process not too long ago. So the only thing that Cam Jurgens has over Tyler Steen's head right now is really just an offseason and a year with the Eagles already. You know what I mean? So he's already been here a year. He's been through the offseason program. He's been coached up by Kelsey and Stout. He's way ahead of Tyler Steen just for that aspect of things. So I totally understand that, but I want to see when Tyler Steen catches up to Jurgens and obviously being here for a while, and to see if, he makes a push for this position by the start of the regular season and see how everything looks. So, like I said, we haven't seen a lot of video on one-on-ones between wide receivers and DBs or offensive linemen, defensive linemen, stuff like that. We really haven't seen too much video on that. A lot of other camps from other NFL teams are showing a lot of stuff like that. But we will see that very soon. I mean, we're going to have open practice very soon. It was the military day today, so obviously, usually when that happens, August 5th, I think, is the open practice for the Eagles. I think there's 2 dates. I'm not sure. They haven't really announced anything yet, unless I missed something. But that's what's going on at right guard right now. Makes sense. I mean, Nick's going to say, oh well, Cam's going to start today, but there's no set in stone at right guard. So I totally get it. Wants to keep the competition open. I want to see what Tyler-Steen could do. As much as I really don't want to get redshirt Cam Jurgens for another year, because then you're going to only have 2 years. And if Kelsey retires after this year, then you only got 2 years with Cam to really evaluate him. And I'm not really worried about him too much, because a lot of the offensive linemen have high praise on him. He is a undersized, pretty much a Kelsey lookalike when they stand next to each other. It's absolutely amazing because they look exactly the same body-wise, so, we'll see what happens with that. Now, to go to the defensive side of the ball, so like I said, offensively, it was a great day. It was a great day. A lot of receivers got involved. Quez Watkins had a monstrous day, which was great. So defensive side of the ball, you're starting safeties for the day, because the safety position, we always got to talk about it, right, is Terrell Edmunds and Reed Blankenship. That feels better, because I know that Sean Desai is moving guys around and he doesn't have a first, a second, third team, so I understand that. I get it, but those were your starting safeties for the day. Christian Ellis got snaps, start with the first team defense. It seems like this guy is getting a lot of attention right now, and did we find a gem? Is something I have to check his contract out, how many more years he's going to be here for, because I think, didn't he just come to the roster last year? I'm not really sure. But Christian Ellis, I don't know, he's turning heads, getting a lot of attention. Start with first team D with Nakobe Dean. And I want to see if this guy can beat Nicholas Morrow out. I'm actually, look, if Christian Ellis actually works out, and Nicholas Morrow is doing okay, I'm fine with the linebacker core. If Ellis is playing out of his mind, I got no problem with it whatsoever. So we'll see. But each day, just getting attention and more attention and more attention. It's just getting crazy. So that's great news. James Bradberry had a pick on Marcus Mariota. Probably should have been a pick 6. Probably would have scored that in a game. Good day for Bradberry. And Vonte Maddox, man, this guy, I thought, from what I saw reports, I thought he got hurt today. For what we heard about Vonte Maddox, he was slow to get back to the drills. It was the DBs versus the one-on-one DBs wide receiver drills. He was slow to come back into it. And but he was fine, but I'm still nervous about this position at nickel, like really bad, because I feel like, I don't know. I don't feel good. I don't want to say a guy's going to get hurt, but I don't trust him. I mean, he was hurt 2 times last year, and, if we didn't make it that far, he wouldn't have came back the second time. You know what I mean? This toe injury that he's had, maybe his toe is acting up. I'm not really sure. We'll find out on Tuesday what's going on, if he shows up to practice or not, or if he re-aggravated something in his foot or something like that, because this is going to be a problem here, because I didn't like the other day. Understand now the size moving guys around and nothing's set in stone. If he throws somebody in the position, doesn't mean he's the next man up or he's starting. So I get it. I saw Josiah Scott and nickel, behind Maddox. I didn't like that too much, because there's got to be someone else. There's got to be somebody else that is having a better day. So, we'll see. But this is obviously something we need to watch for and see what this competition at nickel is going to be here, because we need something. I know Justin Evans could play safety and nickel. He has in his career. So, we'll see what happens. Jordan Davis had a lot to say. Oops, sorry. Jordan Davis, cover up was like, where am I? Jordan Davis had a lot to say. He had a presser today as well. Now, he had some comments on obviously where he's at with his conditioning. Now, we did hear from Sean Desai on Jordan Davis, best shape of his life, looks explosive, looks a lot lighter, and obviously from this picture, remember, you see the difference from last year to this year. He's really been working on that conditioning, and going into his second year, we're expecting a lot from Jordan Davis, especially depending on who he's going to be lining up next to. It could be Jalen Carter, and I hope so, but we'll see. Jordan Davis, quote unquote, said this. He said, "It's all about conditioning. I have a good shape, so that's all I worry about is how I look in the mirror every day. My face slims up, so I'm like, all right, I look a little more handsome. That's a little motivating. You want to look good, feel good, and play good." And apparently he's down to 240, 245 pounds, so he did lose a lot of weight. Now I know going into the combine, or at least college last year, he was 260, 265. He got to I think he only lost a few pounds going to the combine, and now he's about 240, 245 from what he said so far. And notices that, he feels a lot better. His body feels a lot better. He feels lighter. You're going to feel that way. And as long as he maintains his body weight, as long as he doesn't lose that explosiveness, he's going to be fine, because that's like the only thing I worry about with him. But honestly, I'm not really worried about that anymore. I was kind of worried about that before, but not really worried about it too much going into the rest of the off season. So he looks fantastic, looks great, and can't wait to see. It's a big year. This is, for a first round pick, you give, depending on where you're drafted, you give, certain players a certain amount of years. And with first round pick, usually give like 2 years to see if there's a jump. And obviously he was a good, good against the run last year. Well, really great against the run, was playing well before that high ankle sprain, signing Sulin, Joseph, and then came back. And, I think one of the problems that he had was his motor. I think conditioning, like I said, his motor. He ran out of gas at certain times. And there were times he got thrown to the ground very easily early in the year last year. So, with more conditioning and hoping he's a total beast going into this year, I'm pretty excited, man. Pretty excited about Jordan Davis, and opening up about losing weight and all that great stuff. So, the best offseason he's had. So that's a great thing. Nakobe Dean had an interview as well, talked about, obviously, he feels very comfortable calling the plays. Obviously, he gets the green dot, as we saw at the beginning of OTAs, which means he calls the plays for this defense. And like I said, Sean Desai, in the other video I made, Sean Desai was talking about, throwing everything at Nakobe Dean, making him as uncomfortable as possible. Just throwing everything at him, throwing him in the fire pretty much. And it's the only way you're going to learn sometimes. And I think with Nakobe Dean and being a leader for this defense, calling plays for this defense is a great thing. And, we're all expecting Nakobe Dean to be a superstar. And I hope so, but we haven't seen him play. We haven't seen him play a full game, a full season, a quarter of a season, a half a season. I mean, he's had a very small sample size with Nick Roush as the linebacker coach in that room, really sponging up all the information all year and really just playing special teams. And we can talk about the Titans game, 6 tackles for law, all those great things, and coverage, great things like that. But, we haven't seen the full effect, of what Nakobe Dean could do yet. We've seen it in college, but, like I said, I gotta see it with my own 2 eyes, this defense. I can't rely on praise. I have to rely on what I see, with myself. So, I feel good about it. I feel good about Nakobe Dean regardless going into this whole entire thing. So, I'm pretty excited. Nolan Smith had an interview, and obviously Nolan Smith, I just love his attitude. He's just so great. And Nolan Smith had some things to say. He's just done with not having pads on. So it seems like Nolan Smith is just like wants to get pads on already. So he said, so a lot of things can be eliminated by hitting the crap out of somebody else. You know what I mean? So he wants to because when you don't have pads on, you're just doing walkthroughs and you're just doing things in motion. When you get those pads on and getting used to hitting in the NFL, or just getting used to hitting and being physical, you just want to get used to it already, so you don't have to go through, and wait and try to go through it once, you get full pads on. So he's really excited to get these pads on. I'm excited for these pads to come on, and really this competition is going to unfold when you see guys getting hit. It's going to be insane. I hope we see some crazy things happen with full pads. Obviously, you want to keep guys healthy, but, Nakobe Dean wants to prove himself more just by putting pads on, and that's perfectly fine with me. I can't wait to see the speed. I can't wait to actually see some of these practices. And for the people going through these open practices, definitely take a lot of video because it definitely helps. And obviously Maro Jumbo, 7th round pick out of Texas, got a sack on Ian Book today. I'm really liking Maro Jumbo's an interesting one. I made a video on him a while ago. I mean, Maro Jumbo should have been slated to be a 5th round pick, and how he pretty much thought that he stole him in the 7th round. Pretty much stole him in the 7th round. Like I said, slated to be a middle to late 5th round pick. And Jomo's an interesting one because he's very disruptive at times. He just needs a bit of a better motor. Conditioning. It could become down to conditioning, and just, he's got really good explosiveness at times off the line. He's very disruptive at times. Against the run, he's not that bad at all. So He does pretty well. And I think our defensive tackle group right now is pretty deep. I mean, between Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Kadavius Street, was a free agent sign that everybody's forgetting about. Kadavius Street, could probably get 3 to 5 sacks this year. Is a good veteran player, and can play inside and outside. Can play defensive end as well. He can play both positions. They got Milton Williams, that's in the best shape of his life right now, and can play inside and outside too. So you got 2 players that can play inside and outside, which is great. I mean, even Brandon Graham could play inside if you really want to put him on the inside. He did it in the Super Bowl. So I mean, you have guys who can move around if you really want. I'm excited to see if Sean Desai actually uses some of these DTs on the outside at some points. Just to maybe they use Nolan Smith as an outside linebacker or do different things. I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but I'm just saying in general. Like I said, you got Carter, you got Davis, you got Kadavius Street, you got Fletcher Cox, you got Maro Jumbo, you got Tua Tala. I can't even say his name. I think you're very deep at that position. I don't even think you have to touch that position anymore. I think it's good. I think it's solid. I think the rotation's very solid there. So we'll see down the road. But Maro Jumbo is definitely a one to definitely watch this year. Hopefully, he has a really good training camp and could produce. Even he gets like 2 sacks this year. But if he's disruptive and he's collapsing the pocket a little bit, why not? You know what I mean? I think Maro will make the roster. I don't see why not. I think they will keep 5 at the end of the day, probably 5 guys. I would suspect those are the first 5 right there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when it comes to the roster and stuff as it starts to come together and who we think is going to get cut off this team. Once we get to the ending point of all this, so it should be interesting. And finally, well, not finally, but Josh Sweat had some things to say as well. Even asked in the press conference today on, just him on the season in general. And, is this the best defensive line you ever seen? Is this the best defensive line in the league? And he said, yes. He's like, no doubt. I mean, he didn't even hesitate on the answer. And Josh Sweat just gets better and better every single year. Josh Sweat is just... Man, I got to say, from a 4th-round pick that should have been a late 1st-round pick because of knee injuries from Florida State, he's been a fantastic player. The growth I've seen from Josh Sweat over the past few years have been just fantastic. I remember when he first got here and the Eagles were literally just like, they were using him when we had 4 preseason games, they were using the crap out of Josh Sweat. They would throw him in game. They would throw him in an entire game, the whole entire game, just to tire him out and see what he's got, because they all knew he had potential. And, he's become one of the best players. Definitely, already went on 2 contracts with the Eagles already. And, very excited for his future and what he's going to do this year. Double-digit sacks for Josh Sweat, and probably could be another double-digit sack player this year. Stay healthy and do his thing. I think we'll be good. Now, the last thing I want to go over are the Kelly Green helmets. First look. Now, we did see him in pictures with players, but obviously from a civilian perspective where things don't look 4K and these, great photography, what these things look like when you take them outside. John Clark had the helmet outside, and I was so jealous today because all these known people around the NFL that are Eagles fans, and they're getting these jerseys and these really fancy old logo boxes, and oh my God. So I don't know what's going on for these jerseys tomorrow. People are going to be camping out it's going to be nuts. People are going to be camping out like crazy, and I don't know what's going to happen because I still don't know if you can order these things online tomorrow. I hope so, because it's going to really suck from Eagles fans that are in other states or far away. I got work, so I won't even have time to go get there, and there's already going to be 1 million people there probably camping out right now tonight until tomorrow. There's no doubt. So 9 a.m. you'll be able to walk in, buy your jerseys. I really hope we can get some jerseys. I really hope that they're available. I hope I can go online and get one, because if this is just in-store purchases, that's going to really suck. It's really going to suck, man. So hopefully I'm going to be up early and I'm going to see what happens. I haven't heard any news on purchasing or anything unless something came out I don't know about. I even went on NFL Shop to see if there was an update or maybe there's a pre-order thing on it. I don't know. I was just checking things out. So very excited for that going into tomorrow. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. So a fantastic day from the Eagles. The offense did great. Quez Watkins, monster day. And a lot of interviews today. And specifically with, I think Rashad Penny was an interesting one to see what's been going on with him and his training and how his body feels is great. Josh Sweat. Nolan Smith wants to get his pads on, and Nakobe Dean is taking his role as the leader and getting everything thrown at him in one shot by Sean Desai. And Sean Desai is not He's not nervous of doing that. You know what I mean? So that was awesome. So I know this was almost the longest training camp video we've made, but that was a lot of information from one day. I hope you guys definitely enjoyed. Make sure if you guys stayed this long, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. Definitely helps the channel out a lot and the time put in. So thank you so much for everybody that's been watching all the videos, and we'll have more on training camp. No practice tomorrow. We'll have practice on Tuesday from what I've heard, but I'll let you know. I'll update you guys if I hear anything different. And we'll have more videos tomorrow and some surprises and a big announcement soon that I still haven't got out with the video yet. So you guys have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Remember, Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.